Well, very excited. We just got done with the mock game. To me, it's always kind of the culmination of camp. Obviously, tomorrow we're 1 week out from game day, but we've already started a little mild transition to Western Illinois, starting literally on Monday of this week. So we've got some good rep on them. Very excited to kind of get into game week, so you kind of feel that final version. Everything kind of from this point forward. Every rep, every meeting, every depth chart, everything matters, right? So I'm very excited to get into game week. I'm super impressed with our guys during fall camp. Offensively, just the way they've kind of contained the guys that from a year ago, and then also the roster additions. Some new guys that I think have looked really, really good. I think for sure Hudson Clement has probably played as well as he could the last 2 weeks since he's been here with us. Really like the couple new tight ends with Stoffel and obviously Christian Abney. So those two guys. Khalil Valentine, we got him back. I've been a little bit concussed. He's got some fresh ass legs. Looks pretty good. I'm very excited about him. I thought really, obviously everybody's talking about Luke, but I really thought Ethan Hampton has really had a nice camp, continued to grow. Actually, Carson Boyd just had a nice couple series out there on the field, so really excited about where he's come along. On the defense side of the ball, some of the newcomers obviously got a couple new guys up front. But on the perimeter and in the linebacker game, we've moved Ish from inside linebacker to outside linebacker. Looks really impressive. Super excited to get where he is. And in the back end, we probably have two guys, Zanai Scott, who will, a true freshman, will definitely take some reps and play for us a little bit as it plays out. And then Amar Reynolds has had a nice camp as well. So super excited for those guys. Kicking game has been awesome. Just saw David Alano hit a 60-yard Mayday field goal with the clock running out, which means he rushes out on the field without stepping it off and hit a 60-yarder, which was very impressive. Our operation, the execution, the protection has obviously got to hold up, but that's been very impressive. So really don't have, I know we got roster thing. I'm going to be going through that really in the next 24, 48 hours. We really don't have to absolutely have anything in stone until 24 hours ahead of the kickoff. So we're still working on a little few things there, but really won't have much change in our roster at all. So that'll be kind of happening in the next few days.
What do you think that move unlocked for Ish, or why was that a fit for him?
Well, first off, he's come in and been very impressive. He's played inside. We're really deep at inside backer. We got obviously Dylan Rosiak, Malachi Hood, James Kreutz. Just a lot of guys there that have played some really good football for us. And there was actually a day or two where we were a little bit banged up at outside backer, so we rolled him up there and he just looked really good. So, I would say he's probably our sixth outside linebacker, fifth, sixth, but he just brings a unique skill set that's really good.
Is JC back practicing?
JC is, he's out of the boot, moving around. He hasn't practiced. We're going to kind of move him in the game week. So, I think we'll have him on Saturday, if not by Monday next week.
So you still feel confident?
Oh, yeah. He's looked good. We're just kind of being overly cautious. He's done parts of practice. He just hasn't done live.
Gotcha.
Any position battles you feel came down to the very end here at camp?
I think at wide receiver, we're still working our way through. I mean, guys, obviously we as coaches have one thing, but, the number one thing that I think always goes through when you're talking about wide receiver depth is how do him and the quarterback relate? How do guys that, are in the huddle with him? Accountability in certain segments of the game. You got to have a guy that's really good in the red, but he may not be as good out in the field or vice versa. I like the depth of that room. We just continued. There's no doubt in my mind Colin Dix and Hank Beatty are really at a different level. I think they're really good players, and the rest of those guys are all in a group that's kind of continue to come along.
Is that timeline about what you thought it'd be with wide receiver and trying to find one to complement those, or would you have ideally liked to be a little bit more in stone?
Well, I'm glad that we have the amount of volume guys that are competing out there. You can tell it's very important to them. But I think as we get down the stretch here, you want, obviously a guy to kind of rise up in that moment. Colin Dixon has made a couple of really big plays, Hank Beatty. And there's been times Bostic has looked really good, or Jay Bo has looked really good. There's definitely, now I'll say Malik, he was a little banged up, right? So he's only been with us 3 days, and he's definitely had some moments and flashes where he looks like a guy that's ready to take a step forward. Captain Jones has played really, really good. So it's not that they're not doing anything. It's just I don't think there's a lot of separation yet.
With finalizing the roster, did maybe the three guys that are going to be out for the fall, did that simplify it a little bit? Just maybe the number you have to get down.
Three guys that are out.
I mean,
Hurties.
Grant Smith, Hurties.
Oh, yeah.
Forster.
So that's actually clarification we're trying to get, right? So it's crazy as this is. We're a week out from the NC. I know guys are playing this weekend. Like there's rules that we don't know on our roster that we have not given clarity on, right? So it's just really, really crazy. Like Hurtis and for sure Grant Smith. Those two guys, their timeline puts them into January, so it's easy to say they're out past that window. But we have two guys that their a possible return could be postseason play or anything like that. Well, that means can we replace them? And there's a lot of unanswered questions we haven't got clarity on yet. But I really do think the 116 that we started on, because of the injury situation, we could be very much set with our roster without even doing much.
I guess you mentioned games this weekend. You gonna watch? You have some time?
Well, great question, but tomorrow is a really important day for us. We'll put to bed, anything we got from today's mock game, but really a lot of detailed preparation in Western Illinois. I'm going to back off them. We won't hit much on their legs tomorrow at all. And then Saturday, which is Sunday of game week, we'll actually practice Sunday night. So we'll be working on Saturday during the day. So I don't know if there'll be a lot of chances, but I do know college football exists. I can't tell you. I do know, right? K-State, Iowa State is in Europe, right, or in London somewhere. But other than that, I don't know.
I mean, you had an opportunity to have that Ireland game in your first year. Is that something you would consider?
Well,
in the future?
it was an opportunity, but then it was taken away, right? So it was the COVID year pushed it, right, and then whatever happened. So it was that. But we really haven't been approached, and really that was at a different point. That was when Illinois was dealing with a third full stadium, and so they were kind of the perfect market when you have a big stadium that doesn't sell out to make more money going overseas. But the last thing I do right now is take a home game out of that stadium. That'd be the last thing I'd want to do.
Do you know Joe Davis, the Western coach, at all?
I know Joe just from a couple of my coaches know him, and then just being around him, and super Western Illinois. Some of my coaches that I worked with and coached with back in the day became the head. Don Patterson became the head coach at Western Illinois. A lot of my good friends worked there. Myers Hendrickson, who's now on staff with us, his dad was the head coach there. Bobby Diaco, who's a very near and dear friend of mine, who's now a D-line coach at North Carolina. There's a lot of guys that I've been with that have had a lot of history at Western Illinois, so I've always kind of been around that program. So when he got the job and the opportunity, we actually talked. I think he hired a coach off my staff his first year there. So a lot of respect for what he's done in his career, not only at Western Illinois, but before that.
Just for clarity, so there are two guys whose injury could take them into postseason. With the postseason play, might be John Forrester, I would presume, would be one.
John Forrester and Hurtis, and then unfortunately Ty Cox had an injury when he was in high school, kind of resurfaced here, so we're still getting all the tests and everything, but he would be a guy that potentially we may lose for the major part of this season this year, which would obviously give us another roster spot.
How similar or different are Zanai and Xavier?
Completely different.
Okay.
I get it. Mom and dad from the same gene pool, I'll say, right? I would say, obviously, Zanai and Xavier are very similar names, right? But the more I'm around them, I would say Xavier is a very different body type even. Like, they look similar, but like Zanai, I think we've always thought was that corner to star guy. I think, Xavier is that. Zanai, I think, is more safety to nickel, kind of the exact opposite. I'm going to tell you, Zanai is, well, first off, they've been raised by the same people. Incredible kid, very intelligent. Zanai, I would say, might make Xavier mad here, but he really picks up the game very quickly. You hear him back there talking, communicating. He's like, I'm telling you, as long as I've been doing this, all the little, now I was the youngest of three boys, right? And the youngest I've always had. I remember sitting in my basement when I already had J.J. Watt and Derek Watt was coming, and T.J. Watt was there, and Dad called it. And he said that one's going to be the one that's got the most grit. And you look at today and you see T.J. Watt, what he's done. So I think those youngest boys of several always have a little bit more edge.
So we know about Gabe, obviously, but what are you seeing from the other side, that other outside linebacker spot? It seems like there's a couple guys in that mix there.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually a really good question. I would say, Gabe, as we knew, right, has continued to probably play as good as he's played, but Alec Bryan has had a really good camp. Daniel Brown has really flashed. Leon Lowry played a lot better than he was this spring. And then you throw in there a couple guys that have jumped out. I would say Ish, kind of brings a different skill set. But Joe Barna, in my opinion, has had the biggest jump from where he was last spring to where we are today. I just think he's really, and then Mason Moraga is another guy that just kind of hangs around and flashes at times. So that outside back room, since I got here, it's kind of room I coached that position. I love that group, and the more versatility that room brings, I think they can bring that to your defense, and those guys are really a nice room.
You mentioned the depth of inside backers. What's made Grant Bierman done to force his way into that conversation?
Grant Bierman?
Yeah,
Grant's right there. I'm super excited about Grant because he's literally, in my opinion, probably maybe one of the best inside linebackers that we've recruited to come here. I just don't know if he'll be in the playing rotation because I'm not going to burn a year of eligibility on him, and he's a really good player that's probably like, on that third level or down just because of the depth that we've had, and he's taken advantage. Grant Bierman has been an absolute dream since he got here to where we are today. He's a kid with a very bright future.
Thank you, guys.